Of Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Immigration and asks, why did he personally call on Don Juan Leo to receive representations on immigration policy following Don Juan Leo's making a donation to the National Party?
Honourable Michael Woodhouse.
Well, firstly, this was not a personal call. I have no personal relationship with Mr Liu, and I want to make it absolutely clear that I have no knowledge or responsibility for donations to the National Party. When I met Mr Liu in 2013, I had no idea he had made a donation. I meet with a number of people up and down the country in my role as Immigration Minister, and there's nothing unusual about that.
Order. Supplementary question, Honourable Trevor Mallard.
When did he first become aware that this meeting was controversial as a result of Mr Leo's donation?
Mr Speaker,
insofar as it's ministerial responsibility, the Honourable Michael Woodhouse.
Mr Speaker, I don't accept that the meeting was controversial then or is controversial now. It's perfectly appropriate for ministers to hear from a range of people on a range of views, and that's what happened.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Did Mr Leo offer cash?
Mr Speaker.
Order. I just want to consider that question. Well, it gives the member. I'll allow it. It's a marginal question. I'll allow it, but it gives a very
point of order,
wide.
Mr Speaker.
Point of order, the Honourable Michael Woodhouse.
I will give the answer, but I do want to point out that I think it's Speaker's Ruling 50 or something like that. It's very clear about imputations of corruption on members, and that's what that question is. The answer is emphatically no.
I agree.
Point order, Mr Speaker.
Order. No, order. I agree this is a very close question to implying cash for access. I am left with two choices: to rule it out, which I'm tempted to do, or to leave it there for the Minister to respond, and it gives a very wide way for the Minister to respond. That's probably the best way forward on this occasion. Honourable Michael...
Point of order. Oh.
Point of order.
Mr Speaker, in fact, the Minister has responded, and has responded appropriately.
I didn't hear the response.
Well, he's happy to give it again, but the real point here is that there is a point where Speaker's rulings and standing orders can be determined somewhat by what happens in the House. I didn't speak about this at the start of it because I'm very confident about the position that Michael Woodhouse, the Honourable Michael Woodhouse is in relation to this, and because the question comes from someone who is well known for spraying this sort of thing out there. And therefore,
stick to the point of order.
My point, though, Mr Speaker, is that I think there has to be some bounds established by way of a Speaker's ruling. Otherwise, every time we hear that someone from the Labour Party, for example, has gone to speak to someone at the union, then we would be wanting to know how much was involved in that deal, etc., etc. Somehow that seems to be acceptable. Similarly, no one has yet been told how much the Green Party's got from the visit to the Coatesville mansion.
We're now straying from the original point of order. Order. I'm aware of the difficulty around this question. There was significant discussion around its acceptance, and as Speaker's Ruling 1535 acknowledges, there was the requirement then for some give and take before the final questioning was accepted. I'm aware that both the Minister is unhappy with the question and, in fact, the questioner is unhappy with the question. The issue then of allowing it was, as I say, a marginal call and gave considerable licence to a Minister in response. On reflecting on the particular supplementary that has been asked, I have now decided that it is a supplementary that will lead to disorder. It is effectively implying cash for access, and I am ruling that supplementary question out of order. Further supplementary question? Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order. The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, I would just again ask you to look at the question. The question did not in any way imply the Minister took the cash that was offered.
Order. Order. That is a most unhelpful point of order. Order. I'm on my feet. I'll listen to the member in a minute. That is a most unacceptable, and that equally leads to disorder, and that sort of behaviour leaves me with little choice but to conclude this particular question. I'll hear from the Honourable... Well, I took the Honourable Jerry Brownlee. Honourable Jerry Brownlee, point of order.
Mr Speaker, the comment made by Trevor Mallard needs to be expunged from the Hansard record. It is extremely offensive to everyone on this side of the House.
Order. Is the member taken offence? Then the Honourable Trevor Mallard will stand and withdraw that comment. Order. Order. A member has taken offence at that remark. The House some members of the House have taken offence. I have instructed the Honourable Trevor Mallard to stand and withdraw that remark. The Honourable, Chris Hipkins will immediately leave the chamber.
No.
Honourable Trevor Mallard, stand and withdraw that remark.
Mr Speaker, I decline to. It was not unparliamentary.
Then the Honourable Trevor Mallard will leave the chamber. Order. Now, point of order, the right Honourable Winston.
Speaker, may I remind you that when Mr Mallard was taking his point of order, I was calling at the same time. That's
order,
why.
and I didn't see that, and that's been established.
Right.
Now, would the member give his point of order
Mr. Speaker,
and do it rapidly?
Mr Speaker, you've made a ruling based on an appeal by Mr Brownlee, whose integrity with respect to that appeal was destroyed when he attacked both the Labour Party and the Greens during his complaint. Therefore, if that was a valid complaint he made, why didn't you rule him out at the time?
Order. Let me explain it very carefully. As I mentioned earlier, supplementary questions are questions that I need to make a relatively quick decision on. That particular supplementary question, when I reflected on it and listened to Mr Brownlee's point of order, I reconsidered my original decision and ruled it out of order, and that's the end of that matter. With regards to Mr Brownlee then straying into some further superfluous information to his pointer, that wasn't helpful, and at that occasion I stood and told Mr Brownlee to cease.
Point of order, Mr.
Point of order.
It's a separate point of order. Separate point of order, Mr. Speaker. During the exchange that took place before, Anne Tolley made a statement about suggesting the Labour Party took cash for policy. I take great offence at that, and I would ask that it be withdrawn.
Well, if I certainly didn't hear the objection. Order! Order! I certainly didn't hear the interjection. If that interjection was made by the member is now required to stand and withdraw that comment.
I withdraw.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Can the Minister confirm that he has not met with Mr Dongwalu at any other time to discuss immigration policy?
Honourable Michael Woodhouse.
Yes, I can.
To question, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
On how many occasions has Mr Liu raised or attempted to raise with him specific immigration cases?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Michael Woodhouse.
I have met Mr Liu on one occasion, and it was on that occasion that he raised immigration issues, and as far as I can recall, that is the only time.
That concludes questions for oral answer. I call on Government Orders of the Day, numbers 1 to 3.
Heritage New Zealand.